Hey y'all, it's Santana, aka Tam's Book Diary, and I'm back with another video. First, I want to say if you hear anything in the background, I'm drying my clothes, so just ignore that. Based off the title of today's video, I will be giving you guys my unsolicited bookish opinions. And I didn't label this as unpopular because some of these may very well be popular, and then some of these may be unpopular to you. But I just wanted to give you my opinions because why not? I like to rant and go on tangents, but in particular about books. If you see me looking off to the side, it's because I have my little handy dandy computer here with notes that I typed up for each point. So I have 11 points. I hope to not ramble too long on each one. Let's get into my bookish opinions you did not ask for, but I'm giving it to you anyway. First one is, not every celebrity needs a memoir. I just feel like everyone doesn't need a book. Everyone doesn't have to write about their lives. For a multitude of reasons, but my main one is not to be harsh, but some people's lives just aren't that interesting, or they don't know how to make their life story engaging. And I know that that sounds, again, harsh because this is about someone's life, so it's real. I can't say, oh, this is not entertaining, but that's their reality. But I can also say this isn't entertaining. Like, I don't feel invested in the story about your life. And yeah, also I feel like with memoirs, it's like a cash grab. People just are like, oh, I'm gonna write a book because of the money and not because I have something to say, but because I can make money. So yeah, I feel like not every celebrity needs a memoir. That's my first one. I feel like I started off a little calm, not just jumping right into it, but like, what do you think? Do you think celebrities need memoirs? Or like, what celebrity memoir do you think is really good? And then ones you think are just like, I didn't need that. I really enjoyed Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. That was a great memoir. I will put some more pictures on the screen of the ones I definitely enjoyed. But yeah, there's just some that sometimes I'm like, whoa, this is 20 hours. What do you have to say for 20 hours? You know, like, not to be rude, but like 20 hours. My next one is, if you solely read books by white authors or with only white leads, you are not well read. Hate to break it to you, I am so sorry, but if all you read are white authors with white characters, I just cannot take any recommendations from you. Like, you're automatically on the no recommendation list. Like, I don't want to hear anything you have to read. I'm sorry. That might come off as very harsh, very just like, whoa, but I just don't want to take book recs from someone who does not read diversely. And that doesn't mean just reading Black authors. That doesn't mean just reading, you know, oh, this book has a Black person in it, or it has a person of color in it. Like, I still am a little like, what? Like, you should be reading books written by LGBTQ plus authors, written about LGBTQ characters, about Black people, about people from different marginalized communities. Like, that should just be period. It shouldn't be during the heritage months. It shouldn't be during specific time frames. It shouldn't be when, oh, the political climate looks like this, I should read. Like, it should just be a point blank, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you can't read books written by white authors, because I do. It's very limited, but when I do, and I enjoy it, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, if that's all you read, can you really say you have this big book taste? You know what I mean? When it's like you only read by a certain person or read about a certain type of person, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's hard to watch recommendation videos and TBR videos, and I see the list of books that they're recommending, and I'm like, there's a pattern here. Like, you're reading only books by white authors, or the leads are white, or the characters are so racially ambiguous. They can't even say exactly the race of the character because it's kind of like, it's up to interpretation. Like, if you're still writing books saying the characters are racially up to your interpretation, be real. You know what I mean? Like, just, I'd rather, yeah, just don't even try to be like, oh, it's really up to interpretation. No, it's not. Be very clear about what you're writing and who you're writing for and what you're writing about. And so, yeah. I can go on and on because it's just very frustrating as someone who, like, at one point when I was in elementary school, middle school, I had to go out of the way to find books that were written by Black authors or had black lead characters. And it was really hard, but my parents definitely helped with like finding those books. But a lot of the books I've read were written by white women or just white authors in general. And so once I was able to consciously make the effort in like high school, college to read books written by Black authors, I was like, it's so easy to look for the Black authors. I feel like it's, especially now in 2025, if anyone's like, I just don't know, it's just not a lot of options, you're lying. And this is not on here, but as I'm talking, I'm like, also, I know when people are just getting into reading diversely because there's specific people that they will now use as the token constant rotation. I've noticed it with Tia Williams, specifically 7 Days in June, is that book that you'll see on a lot of white booktubers pages like, yeah, like I read so diversely, and it's her book, right? Or it's Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, or it's Legend Born by Tracy Deonn. Now, I love all three of those authors, and I read all of their books, all of their series. So do not take this as, oh, if you read them, that doesn't count. That does count. But I've noticed that now a lot of white booktubers will be like, yeah, book rec of the month, and it'll be like one of those 3 books. And I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicky and maybe I'm paying too much attention, but I just, when I look at what I'm consuming and videos I'm watching and like what people are recommending, it is also telling what type of Black author and what type of Black story they're telling it. And the same 3 are the constant rotation. So sorry, I went on a tangent, but I just feel like if you cannot read about people that are outside of yourself, outside of your culture, outside of your race, outside of your sexual orientation, I feel like how are you then going to tell me that you're just this well-read person? Anyway, my third one, I like hardback books. I'm not picky, but I do prefer hardback over a soft paperback. I don't know if that's popular or unpopular. I'm not really sure. I feel like I hear a lot of both sides. I know people like the floppy books. Like, it's nice when a book is floppy when you're reading it, but like when you want to put it on your shelf, I feel like a hardback is just superior because it'll stand upright by itself. Maybe that's just like a weird, like, who cares? But like when I set up my bookshelf, I'm like, oh my gosh, this floppy book keeps falling because it can't hold itself up. So I gotta like stuff it between a hardback. It's just too much. And I just like a hardback. I don't know. But yeah, also with paperback, the spine bends so easily that it just makes the book now look just, you know, a little rundown, just a little. And I don't like that personally. I don't like breaking the spines of my books. I know some people do, I just don't. My fourth one, romance books should not be over 350 pages. Only if it's a fantasy or like a romantasy, nonfiction social science book or a memoir should it be 350 plus pages. I just feel like a lot of romance books nowadays are just so long-winded and misses a lot of the points because it's trying to be this big book. And I'm just like, why? We don't need 350 pages. I feel like once we start towing the 350, 400, 500, it's kind of like, where are we and what's going on? Or it's like, we could have made this 2 parts. So we could have did 2 books or 3 books. And I don't know, I kind of like the 200 or less or the 300 or less romance books. Cause yeah, I just feel like romance should not be so long-winded. My fifth one is, I cannot separate the art from the artist. I mean this musically and book-wise. If the author is problematic, I'm not supporting their work, period. yeah, I'm not going to buy their work. I'm not going to go out my way and say like, yeah, I support them, not them, but their books, because I'm still putting money in their pockets, or I'm still giving them traction and attention, and like that's dumb. So so yeah, I'm like, I don't care if you put a great body of work out and the book is a classic and you've sold millions. If you're a bad person, if you've done something horrible, I'm not supporting you. My sixth one, books/reading is very much so political. And if you think otherwise, well, we're doomed. Like if you think it's not, I'm sorry, sister, the door is that way. You know what I mean? So here's my little spiel. So literally at one point, and I'm taking this from like my perspective, my community, Black people literally were not allowed to read or learn how to write. You know what I mean? And so the act itself of learning how to read, learning how to write, being educated was past illegal. It was kill worthy. You know what I mean? And so that alone is inherently political, right? So that was all done with intention. The act of reading is political. And I personally think in the age of AI right now, and how it's being force fed on us, like every day, you get on Instagram and meta this, meta that. Google, you get on Google and it's like AI said. You get on Twitter, which is now known as X, which I will never call it that, has AI Gronk features that's slowly taking away our critical thinking skills and making everything so quick, fast, and deliver it to you. And people don't have to think for themselves. And we don't, again, like have to critically think. They're dumbing us down on purpose. And so people who are like, it's literally not that serious. Books are for fun. I read for fun. I don't read for politics. It's like, great. Reading can be a form of escapism, but on the other end, reading is also used as a tool of education. I'm just very concerned about the state of the world and where we're headed with AI. Like, not even going from the environmental lens, but just seeing how people are like, I'm just gonna chat GPT this. I'm just gonna ask Gronk if this. I'm gonna ask blah, blah, blah to do that. And I'm like, are you serious? Or like people using the chat GPT website as a therapist. Like we're feeding it ideas and we're losing the ability to make our own decisions. So we're losing the ability to critically think, to infer, to make predictions, to do all the things that we were taught in elementary school and middle school and high school. And now it's like, who cares about reading books when I could just have ChatGPT read it for me and tell me the plot, the main points? Like, no. And as like a sub part to reading and books aren't political, if you enjoy books like The Hunger Games, Divergent, The Giver, like any teen dystopian movie that stars a white person, if you like those books but believe that reading is not political, again, we're doomed. But also, if you can read those books and empathize with Triss, empathize with Katniss, empathize with any other dystopian movie character, but you cannot see what's happening in the United States, what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in the Congo, what's happening in Sudan, what's happening like in literally every other country, then we're doomed. Like if you can see, oh my gosh, like how can we see kids fight to the death, and how can we see the government starve them, and how can we see, but when it's us, like it's actually real life happening to us and we see it and it's just like blinders are on, you are concerning. You are a part of the problem. Okay, let me get off my soapbox, okay? Because that stuff really just pisses me off. Like, it just irritates me so much that people can watch movies and read books and be like, I totally see how, you know, like they have this idea of like, we need to overthrow the government, we need to do this, and, you know, people in power shouldn't have this, and capitalism is bad, until it's us. And then they're like, well, that has nothing to do with me. Or they cannot see outside of someone that does not look like them. My 7th opinion. I don't shame people based on their reading goals. Whether you want to read 100 books this year, whether you want to read 10 books, I'm just happy that you're reading, period. If all you did this year was read 1 book, I'm proud of you. If you read 200 books, I'm proud of you. And I wish I had the time you had. I'm trying to get to my reading goal, but I make a goal as like a goal for myself. I don't look at other people and say, if you're not reading XYZ amount, you're not a real reader. Why are we not happy people are just reading? I literally, in my other point, was just like, people are losing critical thinking skills. People can't read. 60% of Americans cannot read above the 6th grade level. So anytime someone's like, hey, I just read a book, I don't care if that's your first or your 50th, like that is great. I don't care if it was audiobook, I don't care if it was ebook, physical book, like I'm just happy people are picking up the book and reading. The goals are supposed to be fun. So also to add to that, don't be upset with yourself if you made the goal 100 and you read 90. You read 90 books in a year. Like, yes, you didn't get to 100, but you read 90. If you said, I want my goal to be 10 books and you only read 5, you read 5 books. Like, I just want people to be proud that they read and that they did the thing, okay? My 8th opinion is adult content in young adult books is a big ick. Stop the euphoriafication. I had to make that word up. Stop the euphoriafication of young adult books. Just stop it. I don't want to read a young adult book. So in my mind, young adult is 17 years old and below. I don't want to read that these kids are having sex with each other. That is weird. I don't like that. It's very weird and it's very off. Especially knowing the author is a grown adult. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Why? Why do we have that? Just because it's on TV or other books, like, I just don't think it's necessary because they're literal children and it just disturbs my peace. But also, again, like, think about the audience that's reading these books. That is problematic. That is crazy. And as a good, like, little segue, the books that have the cartoon animated people on it, I feel 50-50 about it. One, it's like super cute. I love it. Attention grabbing. But then you find out it's an adult book, right? An adult romance. But it looks like kitty, young, pops of color. You're like, okay. You read it and you're like, whoa, this is more explicit than I anticipated. I get very concerned because, let's be real, a lot of these parents will take their kids to the bookstore and they're not really checking for what the kids are reading or checking out. Especially when the book cover is animated, looks to be like young people on it. You're kind of just like, whatever. And the first book I'm literally thinking about is the one with the ice skater on it and a hockey player. Like, I'll put it on the screen because my cousin like picked that up and I was like, what is happening? This is crazy. But initially you think it's just cutesy little romance, high school romance, and allegedly I think it is. But even if it's not, it's college, it's like the way it's being marketed, it's just being marketed in the wrong way. And then don't let it be in the wrong section. It's crazy. Anyway, and back to, let's stop the euphoriafication of books, young adult books. Let's also create a new space if it's not one already. I've been hearing a lot on TikTok, like this new adult genre, or like, you know, because young adult is 17 and below. And I feel like there's not like a transition from young adult to adult. Like, it's young adult and then adult. And adult can be adult. And sometimes even for me, I'm 24, but sometimes for me, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. We're on page 10. So I feel like a new adult would be a great middle between young adult and just adult. Like new adult is 18 up, you know what I mean? Where it's, okay, it's a little explicit, but it's like, okay, the age range is more fitting. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like we don't have to have this in every book. And especially young adult books, it's just like, are we for real right now? My 9th opinion. I feel like I'm saying my 9th and my 10th, but like I feel like I'm on the 15th because each one I have like a sub point. No, my 9th opinion is listening to audiobooks counts as reading, and I won't let anyone convince me otherwise. I feel like this is definitely a popular opinion. Please get off your little high horse about it's not reading, it's not. If you're not reading a physical book, you're not reading it. It's reading. And it actually takes a little more brain power than when you have a physical book because you have to really listen. You can't even, it's reading, I don't care. And I feel like it's extremely ableist to believe it's not, especially for those who cannot read physical or ebooks, you know what I mean? So it's just dumb. I just don't believe that argument, and anyone who wastes their time saying it doesn't count as reading is just wasting their breath, period. My 10th opinion, the narrator can make or break the audiobook. I will not listen to an audiobook if I don't like the narrator's voice. If it's too nasally, if it's too deep, if it's breathy, like I can hear them in the mic, no. I am not listening to this. I won't force myself to listen to someone's voice I don't like, especially for 8 hours. Like, are you serious right now? So yeah, the narrators will definitely make or break whether or not I will listen to a book. And sometimes if I really am like, dang, I really like the plot, or I really like the summary of this book, I just don't like their voice, I'll just wait to find it either on my Kindle or on physical. Now, I will give a shout out to one of my all-time favorite narrators, Adam Lazar-Wyatt. He does all of S.A. Cosby's books, and his voice is just so good. It's just deep enough. He doesn't talk too slow. He doesn't talk too fast. It's so good. And he makes each character sound distinct enough that you're not feeling like, which character is this? You know what I mean? My battery's about to die. Let's see if I can hurry up this last part. My last opinion is annotating books are so much fun. I've gotten rid of the mindset that I'm ruining my book when I write in my book, because it's my book and I can do what I want to it. I have live reactions when I'm reading books, so I like to underline and LOL and OMG, why would she do that? I hate these people in the margins of the book. Like, that's literally my favorite part. And I also just like to highlight the funny and the impactful moments that stand out. I want to write a review for a book, right? And I want to go back and recall like some moments that stood out or some quotes that stood out. It just makes it easier when I go back and recalling the book I read. It is harder for me sometimes with reading so many books of so many different genres. Sometimes I will forget kind of like the main plot points. So it helps when I can go back to like where I annotated and I'm like, yes, like it'll be a good refresher of the book. So yeah, I love annotating. That's literally my favorite thing in the world. And I love getting like the matching pens and the annotation tabs, which I showed in my favorite bookish items video. I did like 2 or so videos back. But yeah, I just love that. And I feel like it kind of decorates or enhances the book even more. Like when you're done and you see all the tabs and all your little notes. I don't know. I just love personalizing the books I'm reading. So yeah. Anyway, that is my 11 bookish opinions. Let me know if you agree with some, disagree with some. What are your bookish opinions? And let's talk in the comments. I'm excited to kind of see where you guys' heads are regarding all things book related. But I will see you in the next video. Bye.